guys, I'm back again. So it's been a while, but we're back. We're gonna review some books. We're gonna go over the months of May and June. We're gonna do a wrap up, and I've got a few other videos planned, so that should be fun. But we're gonna jump right on in and just start talking about books, which is gonna be funny because this month I read a lot of like Kindle and I listened to a lot of audiobooks. So ironically, the only books that I have like physically have in my hands are extreme horror books. So we shall see about them. So first, we're gonna start with May, which is gonna be a really quick month because I only read 4 books in May. So we're gonna start with one of the ones I do have, which is The Bug Collector. Basically an extreme horror book. I'm doing a video where I read extreme horror. I've read one extreme horror before, but now I'm gonna dive more in depth into them. So I did read The Bug Collector by Rath James White, and this one is about a man. I'm not sure if it says how old he is, to be honest, I don't remember, but he has a fetish for collecting every STD out there. That is his main goal. He knows he's gonna die from it, but it turns him on. He has to have them. So, and that's like Pokemon, but with really disgusting, gross, sexually transmitted diseases. Gotta catch them all. But he ends up sleeping with the wrong girl who wants to seek revenge for him giving her an STD. So, well, many, I guess. So that's basically what this book is. It's very short. It is only 70 pages? 72 pages. And a lot happens in this. So I'm not gonna rate extreme horror books because I feel like you can't really rate them, because if you're like, oh, it's so good, it's a slippery slope. Did I enjoy it? Yeah. And I actually dove into if it was a real fetish or not, and it is, and that ruined my Google algorithm, I'll tell you that. But it is fascinating. I love to learn about sex and new kinks and things. Granted, not my cup of tea. I don't want that, but you know, it was a very quick read. It is graphic, it is gory, the wording is pretty gross, but overall I would not consider this the worst extreme horror I've ever read by far. Next, I read The Silver Elite by Danny Francis, and I gave this one 3 stars. This was a book club book that another member chose. It had just been released and she really wanted to read it, so we all read it in book club. And basically it is this girl who ends up in a military academy, and she is a telepath, but her kind are being persecuted and hunted and basically destroyed because nobody thinks that they should exist anymore. So she has to keep it a secret, but she enters this military academy to hunt down her kind, and there she meets the commander, who she ends up having feelings for, which then delves into a bigger sub-story from that, and you learn about his past, and it's basically enemies to lovers story in a very dystopian, futuristic world where the military has ruined the DNA of some people, but then those same people are persecuted by the same government that ruined them. It was an interesting read. I felt like it flip-flop for me. There were some points in the book I was like, this is so good, I just absolutely love this, I want to read this, and then majority of the book I was like, whatever. But then the last 50 pages of this book, I was hooked. I could not get enough. So now I'm torn. Do I read the sequel? Do I leave it at that? Because I had so many mixed emotions reading it that I don't know where I'm gonna go with it. So that's still up in the air for me. The next one I read was Eat the Ones You Love by Sarah Maria Griffin. Griffin? Yes. And I gave this one 3 stars. This is about a girl who loses her job, so she moves back home and moves in with her parents and is basically starting from the ground up. She ends up apprenticing at a flower shop where she falls in love and has like a crush on the owner. It is an LGBTQ read, and she falls into like this relationship with the owner, and they start, you know, hanging out, and she meets their friends, and she starts feeling very at home and in place. But on the sub level of it, the owner, whose name I don't remember, she is taking care of a plant, and the plant is sentient, and it thinks and it feels and it kind of controls her, and it can like root itself. So the flower shop's like in a mall type of situation, and it has weaved itself, the vines, throughout the entire mall, so it's always watching, it's always listening. And I listened to the audiobook of it, and the audiobook takes place mostly from the plant's point of view, which was crazy to, you know, be listening to a plant talk about how it feels and how it's, you know, coercing them to be together, and the plant feeds on people. And so it's very much Little Shop of Horrors meets modern age. Sorry, my cat is turning the camera and everything because he can't function without being a menace. But so very much Little Shop of Horrors, very cool. I loved that it's from the plant's point of view. You do get other point of views from the main character, and then the ex of the shop owner, she has some input on it, and she's very concerned for the main character's life. She like writes back and forth like, hey, she's something weird's going on with her in the plant. She's way too obsessed. I don't like where this is going. And so we followed that, but it was a very, very interesting read. I read it pretty quick because of it, because I really enjoyed the fact that it's from a plant's point of view. It's rare that you get a story from any other type of point of view that I have found yet. And the last book I read was The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren, and I gave this one 3 stars. This is a romance book, which is not my cup of tea at all. So my book club has split up into 2 fractions. We have the main book club, and then we have what's the girly book club, where we read the books that we don't think that the boys of the group would enjoy. So a lot of times they pick romance books, which isn't really my vibe. So they pick romance books, which isn't really my vibe. But they picked this one, which is the sequel to, I don't even know what the first book is called. I probably should have known that. I don't know what the first book is called, but it has the same characters in it, and we follow what is her name? I don't have the book. Either way, we follow our main character, who is a famous romance writer, and she gets propositioned to do a reality show. And the reality show is they use this DNA duo, which you learn about in the first book, and those characters that created it are her friends. And so they're all in there, but it's definitely, I guess in the first book, our main character was like a secondary background character, and now she's the main character of this book. So you don't have to read the first one. It kind of is its own entity, with it being within like the same world. But So she goes on this reality show to find her true love because there is a system which matches your DNA with compatible people, and supposedly they give you like diamond matches or bronze matches or silver matches, and the ultimate goal is to meet your soulmate through your DNA. So she's on a reality show where the audience picks who she's supposed to be with at the end to see if human nature still wins out over DNA, or if the DNA is truly showcased as the superior choice. I feel like it was pretty just like repetitive in the sense of, yeah, we know who she's probably gonna end up falling for. You know, there's a director there that she's showing a lot of interest in, and somehow, some way, you know that they're probably gonna end up together, and you are trying to figure out how they're gonna incorporate it into the show itself. But so it was kind of predictable. Still a very enjoyable read. I actually was reading it while I was away in Amsterdam in May, and at the same time I would go home to my apartment in Amsterdam and I would put on what is the show? Why can't I think of it? The Ultimatum. I would put on The Ultimatum and watch that and have it playing in the background while reading, and it was like almost like I was like, this just works together. I'm reading about a reality show and I'm watching a reality love show. This is just, it made it fun for me. So I definitely, I don't have any interest in reading the first book because romance isn't my thing. If it is, it was an entertaining read. And if romance is your thing and you like reality show romance like I do, I am a reality show whore. If it is a reality show, I probably will watch it. If it's a love reality show, I'm for it. And I don't know why, because I don't read romance. So book club's forcing me to delve deep into my out of comfort zone, if you will, because it's not where it's at. But because I was away on vacation in Amsterdam in May, I did not read as much as I should have. I did go to bookstores in Amsterdam and I did buy books in Amsterdam. Probably too many books in Amsterdam, but I haven't read them yet. So now we're gonna just jump on into June. And the first book I read was Lovely, Dark, and Deep, and I read, it was by Megan Stockton, and I gave it 4 stars. And I read this one because I have it as part of my horror bingo. It is my cryptid read for horror bingo, and the bonus point was if it's a cryptid you've never heard of. And this book blew me away. It's a very short book, but it is like sirens and zombies and water creatures, and it's everything all wrapped up into like this one weird, I don't know, sea monster type thing. And I don't even think they have a legit name as a cryptid, like nothing specific. I think if you were going to categorize it, they would be categorized as sirens, but really not, because they show up on land and they devour people. So it's an interesting like vampire zombie sirens. It's so cool. I had a blast reading it. So I don't know if it would count as a cryptid you've never heard of because they're not named as anything specific in the book, but I'm counting it because they're supernatural of some sort. So you follow our main character. It's a multiple POV book, and you're on a small island, and a storm is coming in and they're evacuating people and people are staying behind. And as the storm is rolling in, you start realizing that people are kind of going insane a little bit. Like there's one specific girl who keeps saying, my son's missing, my son's missing, my son's missing, my son's missing, I don't know where he is. And you have this little boy who's sitting on the dock with his dad, talking about his days and saying, Dad, you know, when are you coming home? I miss you. Mom misses you. I'm sure if you talk to Mom, she'll take you back. And you have this very like broken family type aspect, and you quickly dive into the horrors there. So you follow cops, you follow like a fisherman or a fisherwoman, I guess, and you follow them, you follow the little kid, and you follow his mom, and they quickly start seeing these creatures rise up out of the ocean and start walking onto land. And as they're walking onto land, they're eating people, they're drinking their blood, they're killing them violently. I did not anticipate the level of grotesque killing that was going to go into this book. It's not super deep. There's one scene in particular where the mom of the little boy gets killed, and she is like contorted and like placed on like a sword or a spike or something, and that's pretty graphic. But other than that, it's not like a super gory book. It's scenes here and there, but it's a very atmospheric, very high tension, very like, it gives me Silent Hill vibes, like misty and unable to see, and just creatures roaming around, and you don't know, because you can't see them from far away, so you don't know if there's somebody that you can reach out to. You don't want to be seen by them, because as soon as they see you, they hunt you down. There's no like escaping them. They just swarm after you. So it's a very intense situation all the way up to the end. I don't even really think that I could call the ending like, oh, that was nice, everything got resolved. I think it was a very dramatic ending, and I really liked it. I've never read anything by her, and it was an amazing book. I would reread it hands down. I actually don't have the book with me right now because one of my friends from book club wanted to read it, so I lent it to her. So that's why I don't have it. But I will have it when I do the horror bingo thing, review, video thing. So the next book I read was Survivor by J.F. Gonzalez, and this is an extreme horror book. And it's a hefty extreme horror book, which I did not anticipate, but it is a thick book. And I know I said I wasn't going to rate extreme horror books, but I did rate this one, and I gave this one 4 stars because the twist in this book I could not see coming from a mile away. It blew my mind. The ending of this, I was like, no fucking way. That's not what just happened. There's no fucking way. I didn't even... So, our main character ends up being forced and kidnapped into a snuff film industry, and it is very graphic. It is very gross. There is a scene with the actor in the snuff films. They call him Animal, and there is a very disturbing scene with him and a very small child. So definitely check your triggers. This is a very, essay, brutal, domestic-y. It's a lot to handle. There is child abuse in here, there is adult abuse in here, there is gore, there is carnage, there is just, it's a lot. But obviously, it's an extreme horror book. So, she and her husband are on a mini vacation, like getaway. She just has learned that she's pregnant, and she's been trying to get pregnant for years. So she's very excited to tell her husband. They get pulled over by a cop who arrests the husband and says that he's been weaving in and out of traffic, and he got calls saying that he is a hazard to the road, and he has to come with him, and he gets arrested and he has to go through trial, so it'll be until Monday. She stays at a motel nearby so she can see him the next day, and a man breaks into her motel and kidnaps her. And he has been tasked with finding her specifically. So his snuff films that he helps direct and acquires the females for come from a subgroup of men or women that want very specific things in their snuff films. So, and somebody requested her specifically, and that's kind of the mystery of the book. You learn that about halfway through, that she wasn't just some random girl, somebody had requested her. So you meet some of her friends throughout the book. She is a lawyer. She's not a no-name somebody. People are going to miss her. So you're kind of reading the book thinking, who is it in her life? Like, who, sequestered this? I don't understand. Why would anybody pick her specifically? What is it about her? She tells the guys, I'm pregnant. Don't do this. Don't do this. She ends up escaping because she submits a life for a life. So she offers up somebody else to them and to save her own life. Obviously that goes awry, and she escapes, and then it becomes a cat and mouse type of game where they will not just let her escape. She knows too much. She's seen their faces. She knows too much. So they hunt her down. She's in witness protection program. She's in all this, but still they hunt her down and they find her, and then she ends up again in the same situation, and she's fighting for her life again with the same 3 men. And when you find out the twist at the end, I have no words. I was like, this just made this book worthwhile. Even if you're not an extreme horror fan, this twist was so good. It was so good. Oh my god, I could not believe it. I was like, I remember getting to that point and being like, no, what? Why would that happen? No, oh my god. It made the book so much worse. And it wasn't even that extreme. It's just, you didn't see it coming, and perfection. If you don't have triggers and you can handle this type of thing, read this book. The twist will not disappoint you. I promise. I did not see it coming, and I am great at predicting little things that I don't think we're supposed to know, but blew me away. Would read again just for the twist. It's fantastic. The next book I read was The Staircase in the Woods by Chuck Wendig, and this one was also a 4-star. June was a good month. This one is like a story about grief and depression and coming to terms with yourself, basically, and your raw inner pain. These group of friends all go out and they camp. They're teenagers. They're camping. They're, doing drugs, drinking, all the fun stuff that teens do when they are rebelling. And they happen to come across a staircase in the woods. And one of them, Maddie, says, let's go up the staircase. And they're all like, no, man, I don't feel like doing it. It's dark, we're drunk, we're high, let's not. No. Maddie goes up the staircase, but never comes down. He jumps off the side of the staircase. So it's just the staircase. There's no foundation, there's no base, there's no nothing. He goes up it, jumps off the side, and they think he will be on the ground somewhere. They never see him again. And then it fast forwards to later, where one of the friends calls and says, hey, I have cancer now. I think we should all get together. We've all kind of fallen out. Let's all get back together. Let's hang out. Let's just celebrate my life because I'm about to die. They all reluctantly agree. They think they're going to like an Airbnb, like hang out, and he takes them into the woods, and they're hiking, and they're complaining, you said this, you said that, why are we here? And he brings them to a staircase in the woods, a different staircase. Apparently it is a phenomena that happens from time to time, where a random staircase will just appear in the woods, not part of any foundation or house or history to it. It's just there, and then when you go back, it's gone and no trace of it. So he's been hunting down these staircases in hopes to find what happened to his friend Maddie years and years ago. And he makes the joke that let's climb the staircase, let's figure it out, let's figure out what happened to Maddie, let's do this. They all climb the staircase, they all jump off, and they end up in like a void almost. It's the best way I can describe it. And they go from room to room, so it's a house that they're in. They never see the outside of the house, but they know that they're in a house because some of them recognize certain things. And the house itself, the rooms all represent something within themselves. Somebody knows, oh, I sold this house to a family that was murdered by the husband. Oh, this is my living room. Oh, this was my bathroom. Oh, I saw my dad. Oh, this is my dead mom. It's a very raw, like it makes you feel. And I did not anticipate it to be as heartbreaking as it is. It was a big story about grief and our own mortality and our growth and our pain, and it really made you think. And I did not expect it to be so deep as it was, and it's heartbreaking to learn about each of their stories, and even the parts of the book the rooms that don't have to do with them directly. Each room has some tragic past to it, has some tragic story, has some pain and wounds, and it's about getting through it and forcing yourself out to the other side. And if you can't, you get stuck there. So it's about these friends now working together to try to work through their pain together and get out the other side, leave this house. It was a great book. It was sad and depressing and fantastic and well written, and 10 out of 10 will read more from him, and highly recommend the book. It was so good. It was so good and unexpected. I loved every second of it. I read next, It Came From Inside by D.W. Hitz. Hitz. And this one is an extreme horror book in and of itself, so I didn't rate it because it's a very short extreme horror. So this one, extreme horror wise, is definitely a body horror. If you couldn't tell from the lovely cover itself, which is actually why I bought it, because of the cover. I loved the cover, and on my extreme horror search, I love me some good body horror. But this one is David and Ashley's new job takes them down into a pit where an under construction church collapsed. Their mission to map and measure the new discovered cave system. But what they find there won't help them rebuild. So they dive into the cave system, and there's like these worms there, and the worms kind of nestle within their bodies, kind of like slither, and it kind of, I feel like I missed something in this, because it says it's part of, where are they? Custer Falls, the town of Custer Falls. And there's like several books that he has written, and Custer Falls seems to be a theme with them, so I'm not sure if this was like a sequel to something and I should have read the first ones, or if it doesn't really matter, if it's just like a collective like town, kind of like Erie Indiana, I believe that show was called, where all the weird shit happens. But there's like this guy on top of the hill who is mutated by these worm things, and he is like, my duty to take over the town, to take over the planet will almost be complete. And I'm not sure where he came from or why he was there, so I don't know if this was a sequel. As far as extreme horror goes, I feel like this wasn't extreme at all. It was very icky in the body horror aspect, so if that kind of stuff creeps you out, and like worms and bugs kind of creep you out, don't trigger. But as far as making me squirm and feel uncomfortable, it didn't really do that at all. I wouldn't consider this extreme horror. I don't know what kind of freak that makes me, but if you like body horror, you might enjoy this one. Then I finally finished, because I've been reading it since, I don't know, January, It by Stephen King. And this was part of, I picked it to read because it's part of my horror bingo. It was TBR Vet, so the longest thing you've had on your TBR. And I've started and unfinished it since I've been in high school. It has been something I pick up, I read it, start it, love it, never finish it. Start it, love it, never finish it. On and on. So this forced me to finish it. I loved the movies. I loved the one with Tim Curry. I loved the one with Bill Skarsgård. I think they're phenomenally done, every single one of them. The book itself definitely goes into more detail, and it is a more vivid experience, and you learn a lot more history. Does it have business being over 1,000 pages? No, it does not. There was so much stuff in there. It was like watching Naruto. There's so much filler in this. I was like, okay, I don't know who this is or why I care. Do I think it was necessary to the book? Probably. It did world building, and I don't know if I was so impatient with it because I've seen the movies and I expected it to just kind of be concise with the kids as opposed to having sub-characters throughout, or if it was just filler. But very much more detailed, very much that what the movies changed from the book, obviously, like the big sex scene and whatnot, you could not show their kids. You can't show the sex scene with the children. But there is, like, the people that die in it aren't necessarily the people that die in the movies. And I don't understand why that changed at all. So it was interesting, and I'm really happy I read it, and I'm really happy I finally finished it, and that I was able to just get the full picture of what Stephen King wanted. I think it was beautifully written. It's creepy. It's a classic. It's atmospheric. It gives you the ick vibes the entire time. It gives that tension. But it was just so long without needing to be that long. I think 800 pages tops, and we could cut out the rest. But that's just me. Definitely, if you're thinking about reading it, push through, because you do get a lot more world building within the book, and a lot more subtext for everything, and a lot more like back history about it itself. It was very interesting. I'm not gonna take anything away from it. It is a classic for a reason. I gave it 4 stars. I loved it. I just think it was longer than it needed to be. Next, I read Pestilence, which was my book club girly book of the month. I have 2. I feel like I'm missing a book club book. But I guess not. Maybe. I feel like I'm missing something. But Pestilence is a book of 4 in the series. It's the 4 Horsemen series, and it is a dark romance series where the four horsemen come to Earth and are destroying it, and they meet a woman and, you know, progress from there. Pestilence is the first book in the series, and it goes pestilence, war, famine, death, and each book is specifically about that one horseman. They do not overlap at all. So Pestilence, he's the first horseman of the apocalypse. If you don't know, he is the wound guy. He makes everybody kind of ill and sick, and he brings plague to kill off everybody. That's his special talent, if you will. And it was cute in the sense that, you know, he's a supernatural creature. He's pestilence, so he doesn't fully understand life. So when he takes this woman captive, she is kind of teaching him things as they go. Like, she's his prisoner at the beginning of it, and it is actually pretty brutal. I did not expect them to be quite as bloody as the books are. Pestilence, like, he ties her to the back of his horse and he drags her through a city, and her shoulder pops out and she's got cuts and she's bleeding and she's oozing, and it's pretty gross. So as far as, like, me who enjoys the darker side, if we're gonna do romance, it's gotta be creepy, spooky, gory type of situation. This was right up my alley. I immediately jumped to book 2 after finishing this one, so that'll be in next month's wrap up, and the third one, and probably the fourth one, because I'm just taking them down like dominoes at this point. I don't think I said anything about it's written by Laura Talassa, and I gave it 3.5 stars, because it is a typical romance book. So you know that they're gonna fall in love, you know somehow she's gonna redeem him and he's gonna redeem her, and they're gonna just fold into each other. But there was something about Pestilence as a character and his innocence, if you will. I know he's killing thousands of people in it, and he's kind of an ass throughout the book, but there was something about him that was really endearing and kind of cute and kind of like really just innocent, and I really liked him, and I really liked that he was learning things. Like, he doesn't eat, and he doesn't need to eat or drink or sleep, and she's eating a pie, and he's like, all right, and he like takes a bite, and then he like eats all the pie because he actually likes it, and it was cute. It was really cute. Well, dark cute. It was eerily cute. I did enjoy it. The author writes a lot of like romantasy type situations, and the Four Horsemen in the Apocalypse kind of have always kind of like intrigued me as like their own base characters as it is, so having them be attractive was kind of like a new situation, because when you think of Pestilence, you think of like the open sores. Like, anytime he's depicted, he's like gross and sore and gooey, and like Famine, he's all like, he's just like a skeleton that rides in. So to have the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse be sexy and hot and muscular and broody, it was nice. It was nice. It was a nice read. I'm not gonna take that away from anything. I can't say I didn't enjoy that romance. I jumped right into the second one, so I don't know what that says about me. Add some broody dark men to a situation that kind of have a heart of gold, and I'm kind of in. Kind of all for it. Don't know what to say about it. And last, I listened to His Black Tongue by Mitchell Luthi, and I gave this 4 stars, and it is immaculate as an audiobook. It has sound effects and dramatic, and it's, oh, I felt like I was watching a movie while listening to it. It was so immersive, even from just like, so it's about demons and exorcisms. It's a classic demon story. It's Middle Ages. They go to a village. I don't want to say priest. He's not a priest. Why can't I think of what he is? Some other tier in the religion, and they go and, you know, everybody's touched by plague and whatnot, and then they find out that, you know, the town's being harassed by a demon and they have to exorcise the town and whatnot. So classic standard, great, love me a good exorcism, love me a good demon story, already in. But to add the immersion of the demonic voices, the rain, the music, the dramatic music that was always playing in the background as I read, and you could feel the tension building and building and building and building and building. It was so good. If you want to read this book, 10 out of 10, you have to listen to it. I listened to it on Spotify, and oh my God, was it good. I would re-listen to that. I've been telling everybody, please, if you're gonna pick an audiobook to listen to that. It was so immersive. It was so well done. I couldn't even believe it. And then it has a bonus story on Spotify of like a Viking story, and that one I wasn't super into, so I didn't even really finish listening to that one. But I finished His Black Tongue because it was so good. It was so immersive. I cannot get over how well done it was. And it's by like the main character, the female voice, she kind of like narrates everything, even though she's not really like, it's not a first person type of thing. View, why can't I speak today? What is happening? But it's not first person, so she's not talking for herself, so she's just narrating the book. And there is a male voice who takes over for the priest, whatever he is, and it's just so good. It's so good. I know I'm not doing it justice by talking about it, but if you like demons and you like exorcism and you like Middle Ages or any one of the three, and you want a fantastic audio book, go. Spotify, free, go. Just go. It was so good. Oh, I cannot wait to make my boyfriend listen to it. He loves Middle Ages, so it was so good. But that wraps it up for May and June. It wasn't a super exciting May, much to my chagrin, but I was away in Amsterdam living my best life. June was fantastic. A lot of 4 stars. A series that I got into, like, we're cruising. And July, I feel like, is going to be even better. And I'm cranking through the horror bingo because we're coming full speed ahead to the end. I'm pretty sure I have to be done by October for the rest of them, and I think I still have like 7 books I gotta read out of that, so that should be exciting. So stay tuned, and like I said, I got other videos coming, so keep a lookout for that. Also, I'm kind of already over the blue. I feel like you guys just saw me with blue hair, like you just saw me with my green and blue hair, and now I'm already bored, so we might be changing that too. Who knows? Alright guys, that's all I got for you. And I will see you on the next one.